Hi, this is SpookyRecapped, and today I'm going to recap the movie Mirrors. The movie starts out with a guy breaking a lock at a train station. He tries escaping out a window when closet doors open, revealing a lot of mirrors. When trying to polish the mirror, a piece breaks off, hitting the ground. He picks up the piece from the ground, but his reflection is staring back at the man. The reflection cuts the man's throat, and he dies. We are now introduced to Ben. He's a suspended police officer who is living with his sister since he shot a person on duty. He is about to start a new job as a security guard at an old burned-down mall called the Mayflower. He meets up with his new colleague, Lorenzo, and he is showing him around the building. Ben asks Lorenzo why the mirrors are so clean, and he tells him that the last guard was obsessed with them. They continue the tour, and Ben is looking forward to start the same night. We then cut to Amy, Ben's wife. They are currently separated, and he is visiting his kids. She's asking Ben to talk, so they go to the bedroom. Amy is angry with Ben, as he showed up without telling her. They start fighting, and their son, Michael, covers his ears. They then start kissing, but Amy pulls away and asks Ben to leave. At night, it is Ben's first shift at the Mayflower. He's sitting in the trailer when it's time for his first round. He enters the building and starts walking around. He notices a handprint on the mirror, but is unable to clean it off. More handprints appear all over the mirror. When looking in the reflection, a door opens behind him, but when he looks back, the door is still closed. He opens the door and slowly walks down the basement. He finds a light switch and sees the entire basement is flooded. The next day, Ben is taking his medication, and his sister Angie asks him about his new job. When he looks in the mirror again, his face is all warped, scaring Ben. He shrugs it off, as to him just being tired. At night, he goes back to work, exploring more of the building. When noticing another handprint on the mirror, he puts his hand on it, and the mirror cracks, cutting Ben's hand. All of a sudden, a burning woman appears behind him in the mirror. A fire spreads on the ground, and it catches Ben. He rolls around in pain, but the flames suddenly stop. When putting his jacket back on, he finds a wallet on the ground. It belongs to the previous security guard, Gary Lewis. He goes back to the trailer and starts looking through the wallet. He finds a strange note with the word Escalating written on it. Ben then goes back to the building to further investigate. He hears a loud scream and runs around to locate it. He sees an arm in a reflection and finds a mirror to get a better look. Ben sees a woman burning without flames. We then cut to Michael, who is scared. He tells Amy that a woman is screaming in his mirror. She comforts him and goes back to her own bedroom. When turning off the TV, the same woman is in the reflection. Ben meets up with Angie, who is at work at a bar. He tells her about what he is experiencing at the Mayflower. She tells Michael that it's probably best if he just quits the job. Later, when Ben is sleeping, someone knocks on the door. He opens the door and receives a package from Gary Lewis, who he has never met. The package contains articles about the Mayflower and the arsonist who burnt it down. He then goes to see Lorenzo to ask him about Gary, but Lorenzo tells Ben that Gary has been found dead. Ben goes to see Amy, who is working as a forensic scientist. He asks Amy to see Gary's body, and she reluctantly agrees. A doctor tells him that Gary killed himself with a piece of mirror. Gary's head turns around in a reflection and says the word Escalating, scaring Ben. He demands to see Gary's file, and Amy finds it. When seeing the photos, he notices that there is no blood in the reflection. Amy is worried about Ben, so he apologizes and leaves. We then cut to Angie, who's getting ready for a bath. When turning around, her reflection stays the same. The reflection is opening up her mouth, slowly ripping off her jaw. Angie dies in the bathtub, with her jaw half ripped off. Ben comes home and sees police in front of the apartment. The police try holding him back, but he pushes them away and runs into the bathroom. When seeing his dead sister, he throws up in the sink and breaks down crying. At night, Ben is back at the Mayflower, trying to destroy the mirrors, but they won't break. He even tries shooting the mirror, but it just repairs itself. They then carve out the name Escalating, and Ben goes home to call a friend on the force. He's asking his friend to look up the name Terrence, who's the man who burned down the Mayflower. He then visits the psychiatric facility where Terrence were before he died. Ben sees an old videotape of him repeating the name Escalating. Ben fears for his family, so he goes back to Amy's house and removes all the mirrors. His kids and the nanny are getting scared. He starts painting over those he cannot move as Amy comes home. She is angry with Ben and does not believe anything he says about the mirrors. Ben takes Amy outside and shoots the mirror to prove it, but the mirror does not repair itself this time. He tells Amy that he is sorry and drives away. When driving, Ben sees Angie in the back seat and almost crashes the car. He then drives back to the Mayflower and finds an old sign in the basement that says St. Matthew's Hospital. He loosens up a few bricks and is able to get through the wall. Behind it, Ben finds a room full of mirrors. He enters the room and looks around. His reflection turns around and shoots at Ben. Luckily, he is okay. He then gets a call from his friend and meets him in his car. His friend tells Ben that the name Escalating was a girl called Anna. She was in St. Matthew's Hospital, but was released before they closed it down to build the Mayflower. When looking at the pictures of Anna, he puts it in front of a mirror and it cracks. Meanwhile, Amy goes inside Michael's room, but when he moves, his reflection stays the same. She calls Ben in panic, and Ben quickly turns around the car. Together, they cover all the mirrors, and Ben says goodbye to his family and drives off. He finds an old farm where the Escalating family lives. Ben knocks on the door, and a young man opens up. He calls for his grandfather, and they go down to the basement. The young man's grandfather is Anna's brother. He tells Ben about Anna. She was possessed by a demon, and they had to lock her in the basement until she was admitted. Ben tells him that he knows that Anna is still alive, and asks him where she is. He then tells Ben that she's at a monastery nearby, so he drives there. He then enters the monastery and finds Anna. She tells Ben that when she was in St. Matthew's, the demon possessing her left her and entered the mirrors. She refused to go back with Ben, and he shows her a photo of his family. Ben calls Amy, who has fallen asleep. She notices that Michael is missing, and when opening the door, the floor is covered in water, making it reflective. She drops the phone in the water, and Ben rushes into Anna's room, threatening her with a gun. When Amy tries to drain the water, she sees Michael and is pulled down into the tub. Her daughter, Daisy, is looking for Amy when she sees her inside of the mirror. Daisy is lifted up and her throat is almost cut when Amy grabs her. Amy puts Daisy in a closet and continues to look for Michael. She finds Michael in a reflection, and when trying to grab him, her face is cut. Meanwhile, Ben and Anna arrive at the Mayflower, and hands try breaking through the mirrors. They enter the mirrored room, and Ben straps her in. Amy finds Michael, but when trying to grab him, he is pulled down the water. The demon tries entering Anna, while Michael is drowning. The mirrors explode, and Michael is pulled from the water. Luckily, he's still alive. When Ben enters the room, he is attacked by the demon. It throws Ben through a brick wall. They start fighting, and Ben is able to pin the demon on a pipe. He shoots one of the pipes, and the basement explodes while Ben is trying to escape. Luckily, Ben is still alive and goes outside into the daylight. Police and firefighters arrive, and when Ben sees Lorenzo, his name tag is mirrored. The police car is mirrored as well, and the cut on his hand has suddenly changed places. When putting his hand on the mirror, we see his print on the other side. Ben is stuck inside a strange mirror dimension as the movie ends. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for more content like this. And stay spooked, people.